All right, here we go. I think they got that microphone right in front of the. How are you?
I'm good. But like I said, I'm very glad I'm not following Lenny Clark.
You almost were. He didn't. He wasn't able to execute in time, but it was close.
It's great to see you.
I'm literally sitting here just thinking, oh my God, I almost had to follow Lenny Clark. I'm so happy about that.
Well, I mean, listen, as you come to the end of your second term, you've probably had some experiences like that. Are there three experiences that you've had as governor that you never thought you would have had? I mean, I was there for one, which is you mosh pitting at the Dropkick Murphys House of Blues several years ago. I think it's okay now that you're leaving office for us to talk about that.
Dude, I was doing that long before I was governor. that was not new.
I mean, what are there three really cool, unique things that you got to experience being governor that you never thought you would?
Look, there's all kinds of cool and unique things that come with this.
Throwing out a first pitch at Fenway.
Throwing out a first pitch at Fenway. Well, every year, the National Governors Association has a dinner at the White House, and the dinner takes place in the Lincoln dining room, and there's you're there with sort of 40 plus of your colleagues and their spouses and the cabinet of the president and the vice president. I mean, and their spouses. It's pretty unusual.
With the current president, they start that dinner at 4. Is that correct?
You know what? They actually had it last year or the beginning of this year at Mount Vernon.
Oh.
So that was the first time I'd ever been to George Washington's estate, which was pretty interesting. And I learned a couple of this is history and. Just tell me to stop.
Wiggy and I need these lessons,
Yeah.
so please keep them
Okay.
going.
Courtney needs it more than
Oh,
I do.
please, Wiggy.
They know nothing about history.
Yeah, I'll try not to fall asleep.
The most interesting, the Mount Vernon has tons of bedrooms, and the reason it has tons of bedrooms is it was a hard place to get to. So you didn't actually go there, have dinner, and leave. You went there
stayed
and
for
you
a week or two.
stayed for a few days
Yeah.
before you left, and so and the kitchen was completely separate from the house. And the reason why was because back in the day, what would happen if your kitchen was part of the house?
Catch on fire.
And it would burn down the house.
Oh, wow.
So they built kitchens off of the house.
Courtney knows about that.
Okay.
She almost
My
left the
friend
studio.
Charlie is here, and I really don't need to be embarrassed,
That's-
guys.
And big brick, sort of a big brick facing to protect the house from the
Have
the
you
kitchen.
been? I'm just going to say everything since you're going to leave office soon. Have you been made aware that Courtney has a little bit of a crush?
No,
a little bit of a crush on you?
And I've said that you are a very good-looking older gentleman, and you and your wife are lovely together. And I really, I love your wife as well. And I knew he was gonna do this.
You know what? Coming from Courtney, I'll take that as
Thank
a
you.
mega compliment.
Yes.
Works for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
you
We
go.
all appreciate a good-looking man,
Absolutely.
just like you and Wiggy.
Thank
you
you.
go.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, you've had the opportunity to be involved in this throughout your tenure as governor. What's it mean to you when it comes to what is done every year for Jimmy Fund and Dana-Farber?
Well, I was listening to it on the way in, and at one point you pretty much, I think, hit the nail on the head, which is that every year you have an enormous amount of generosity and support and enthusiasm that comes from your community. And I think in some respects that ability to sustain that over time is a function, first of all, of the reputation and the stories that come with Children's Hospital and Jimmy Fund and the work that they do in Dana-Farber and all the rest. But also in addition to that, it's a big statement about how much this particular organization means to what I would describe as kind of your listening audience, which is kind of big parts of New England. And then finally, your audience appreciates this and enjoys it and gets into it and plays. And if you think about what sports radio is all about, it's about playing. And every year people play, which is a really great thing.
It's amazing. I've said it forever. We live, I think, in the most generous part of the country. People give over and over and over again, and I know you've had the opportunity to see that over the last 8 years.
Well, look at the foundation. I mean, we talked about this before. I mean, you guys, when something horrible happens to somebody, you put out the call, and literally within a day, a family that lost a father, lost a mother, lost a house, whatever it might be, suddenly has $50,000 to help them deal with whatever the immediate concerns and crises that they have are. I mean, that's just unbelievable. It really is.
Can we be confident that after your time as governor, we'll still see you during this period, during the Jimmy
If you
Fund?
invite me.
Yeah.
You're always
course.
invited.
Yes.
We'll see him
I
on
mean,
the orange line.
I feel like-
see him.
How was the drive? Wait, how was
That's
the drive?
actually-
How was the drive over? Was it all right? Was
was
it all right?
fine.
Okay, it was good.
Yeah.
It was okay, good. Wiggy wants to talk.
Well,
Obviously,
no.
Oh,
You're no longer going to be doing this, right? So the lights and the sirens on the Suburbans, any chance you give those away? Because I could really use them on my truck now that the traffic is picking up a little bit.
You know that, the only time I've ever used the lights or the sirens is to like a military funeral or something like that. I've never used them.
He
No?
doesn't use them. No, he just drives along like everybody
Humble.
else. Yeah, the guy. He's
a humble
like,
brag
like
right
everybody
there.
else.
Yeah.
100% like everybody else.
I never, I just never saw.
The need
The
for
need.
it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's up to me to figure out how to get in the car at a time that actually gets me where I'm going.
What are you looking forward to after you're governor? Just rest? Are you going to sleep in? What do
Well,
you
I'll certainly
do?
see more of my kids who, one of them lives in Boston, but the other two live outside Massachusetts. I'll certainly have an opportunity to spend more time with my wife, Lauren, which will be great. I'll have the ability to do some stuff that just currently is tied up in the outside of the day job I have, which is fine. But I'll certainly be focused, at least for the next 4 or 5 months, on trying to get the tax bill passed, trying to get the economic development bill passed, trying to begin implementing pieces of this, finish some of the work that we've been doing over the past 8 years in a variety of areas, including transportation. And as as they say about sports events and all the rest, finish strong, right?
Does the MBTA situation in general frustrate you? It must.
Sure.
Yeah.
Frustrates everybody. But the flip side of that, and I've said this many times, the MBTA has been investing and modernizing its core infrastructure pretty much since we took office. And I said at the time, the reason why no one ever spent any money on tracks and signals and power systems and positive train control and all these other things is because you don't get credit for it. And I said, we're gonna spend money on it, and we did. We spent billions of dollars on it, and we got no credit for it.
Yeah.
Which came with the picture. But
Well, actually, Marty Walsh was on earlier and gave you credit and said essentially that the only way to fix it is to shut it down. You're the guy who did that and decided to do it, and so you're right though. That gets blamed on you when that transportation system has existed for,
Well, there's-
for however tens of decades it's been in existence.
Well, there's tons of tension between, hours of service and time on the tracks doing work. And you live in East Boston. We've done a ton of work on the Blue Line over the past 6 years. And when we do it, generally speaking, it creates a certain amount of tension. The weekend stuff, not so much, because the
Right.
shot in on the traffic is not so bad. But the Orange Line. The Orange Line was closed between Sullivan Square and Oak Grove for weeks on track work that people were doing a couple of years ago. The E line, the B line, and the C line have all been closed basically for this summer for the last couple of years. And on the Green Line, the T's replaced 35,000 feet of track and a ton of their power systems. And we installed positive train control on the entire commuter rail. There's all kinds of work that gets done, and sometimes it gets a lot of public attention, and sometimes it doesn't. Obviously, the Orange Line piece is probably the biggest, but the idea that we wouldn't finish all the track work, which we've been doing for years on the T, on the Orange Line until 2027, just seemed wrong. And so, if you could get 5 years worth of track work done in 30 days. We get the fact that it's frustrating and inconvenient, but at the same time, you're going to get a benefit coming out the other end. And by then, most of the trains on the Orange Line will also be
I just
new ones.
I can't mathematically figure out how you can do 5 years work in 30 days.
So here's how part of it works, okay?
Help me! I didn't graduate from high
Okay,
school.
so let's suppose we're doing weekend work on the Orange Line instead, right? So the Orange Line closes down at, call it 10 o'clock on a Friday night, right? So by around midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning, you'd get, remember, you got to get stuff onto the track. So first thing you have to do is shut down all the electric systems on the track. So now it's like 1 o'clock in the morning, and now you can actually start bringing stuff onto the tracks. So maybe by 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, you get stuff onto the tracks. You then have between 4 o'clock in the morning and basically 10 o'clock on Sunday night to do the work. And then at 10 o'clock on Sunday night, you got to start getting off the tracks. And once you get off the tracks, they power it up again so that 6 o'clock in the morning you can start running. So even though that's theoretically Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, and a little bit of Monday morning, it's really not. There's a real limit to how much time you have. If you're doing the overnight work, it's literally 2 or 3 hours, 4 hours maybe to get on, turn it all down, get on, and then 3 or 4 hours of work, and then get off. So it's like you don't have any opportunity to create momentum. In this particular case, they're going to go on the tracks, and they are going to be on the tracks for 30 days.
And are you confident?
The gear stays there. Everything stays there. You turn it into a traditional construction site where you can bring in tons of stuff and just plant it.
And are you confident that it'll just be 30 days?
Yeah.
Or? Okay.
Because of the benefit associated with not having to turn it off, go on, race around to get a bunch of work done, turn it off and get off. It's literally just they're there. And they'll be there every single day, 24/7. Between now and until it gets done.
As a Patriots season ticket holder, how many?
No, I'm not a Patriots season ticket holder. I just go to a lot of games.
All right. How many wins?
I didn't have the family heritage to be a Patriots season ticket holder.
How many wins you have, Matt, this season?
It depends on a lot of things. I mean, the one thing I don't know about you guys, but I sort of feel like exhibition preseason football. You would be a good person to ask this. Tells me less than it's ever told me about the quality of the teams.
Unless Mac plays poorly, and then it tells Wiggy that he stinks.
Oh, well, like any great governor, you are the quarterback, right? So Mac Jones is the quarterback. The success of the team or the success of the state is going to be viewed on how that guy does. Now, granted, I understand there's other people around him, but that's just generally that comes with it. So Mac is in a position this year where this team is going to go where I think he takes him. So, I mean, it's very similar to you being governor. And I was going to kind of ask that question. Are you going to miss the kind of like quarterbacking the state and all the good and bad that comes with it from, all the jackals like myself, the massholes that complain about taxes and all some of the other stuff? Or is that one thing you're like, whew, I'm glad I'm getting away from that?
No, I'm going to miss all of it. But, I'm 66 next month, or November, and I'd be 70 if I ran again and we won. And, my dad's 94. He's not going to be around a lot longer. And as I said, two of my kids live outside the state. I mean, there's a lot of reasons for me that are personal to move on. But no, look, it's a blessing and a gift to have the voters of Massachusetts twice give me this opportunity. And I would be kidding if I said that I quote unquote loved every minute of it. Okay? But the flip side of that is I really have appreciated deeply the chance and the opportunity to serve. And people can say what they want about the way we manage COVID.
Who are you talking about?
So the Commonwealth Fund, which is one of the largest and most well-known research foundations in the country, did a state-by-state analysis of the way states managed the pandemic, and they had 56 metrics that they measured, and Massachusetts finished just a hair behind Hawaii as the second best in the country.
I feel bad about that whole period of time. I might have been a little.
No, it's brutal.
Here
Look,
we go.
it was. Look, no,
I was a little harsh.
You?
The problem we all had with the whole thing was it was new. The data changed all the time. What was true changed all the time, and it put just an incredible amount of anxiety and and tension and anger and all sorts of other things into the air, and it just stayed there for a long time. Like,
It caused a real fracture in our friendship.
oh, for God's sake, Greg.
Right. It looks like he's gotten over
Yeah,
it.
it seems
I
like you
have
guys
gotten
are
over
fine.
it. But I just think I mean, look, we have huge issues. We had mental health issues beforehand. We have more now than ever.
Yeah.
The learning loss in schools for kids, especially, city kids, was incredible.
It's
and
awful.
then digging
Yeah.
out of this stuff, it's going to take a long time.
It is. It is.
Be honest, though. Did you ever just want to say to Greg, why don't you run? Why don't you run and see how difficult this job is?
We're all. I guess the way I would, my father has a very funny saying he used to say. He said, there's a reason why certain people do certain things. It's because what they like, what they're interested in, and what they're good at. And he is doing what he likes, what he's interested in, and what he's good at.
It's a love
And I
fest.
like to think sometimes that I'm doing what I like and what I'm interested in and what
Yes.
I'm good
And
at.
you are good
Like
at
a
it.
true
And-
politician.
Yes.
No, he's
That is
right.
the politically
Right.
correct way of saying Greg wouldn't be good at doing
Right,
what
yes.
the hell I do.
It's not what he wants. It's not what he wants to do.
No.
No.
We're gonna miss you. Any chance we could do one final breakfast with Baker with the listeners?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So maybe we'll go to a restaurant or something, and everybody can say their.
I'll play it whatever way you want.
Okay.
And then my office will tell me why I'm wrong.
Well, you did bring us Ted Lasso in COVID. I would
Yes,
have had no
yes,
idea
yes,
if it
yes.
wasn't for you.
What are you watching now? Anything
Season
good?
3's coming. We watched The Old Man,
Oh, it was great.
Greg loves that
I
show.
love
which
it.
totally bummed us out that 7 episodes and just a cliffhanger and a half, and we have to wait till next summer to see what
It's
happens.
such a great show.
But it's really well done.
Yeah.
Jeff Bridges and John Lithgow are incredible. in
Great
that.
show.
Honestly,
Get you on City on a Hill with Kevin Bacon,
you
the
know,
one that's based out of Boston.
I watched the first season of that, which
Yeah.
I thought was great. Is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, season 2. They got now season 2. I think this is season 3.
Oh, you know what we watched House of the Dragon.
Yeah, what'd
Oh,
you
yeah.
think? What'd
I
you
thought
think?
it was great.
I thought it was awesome too. A little graphic.
Oh my God! Yeah,
One
a
scene
little
that I-
graphic.
Yeah, but I thought it was. I think it's going to be really good.
But
Yeah.
that's kind of standard operating procedure for Game
yeah.
of Thrones, right?
Yeah.
It
No,
made me
that
never
was-
want to have a child.
It was great.
One scene.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Don't mention that. That's they don't do that now these days.
Well,
I was going to say,
Thank God.
you gotta remember when that was.
Yes.
That was
Yes.
Don't have
I have a hard
kind of
time.
a long time
Yeah.
ago.
All right, Governor. Well,
All
listen, really appreciate you taking the time to join us and all that you've done for this event and for the radio station. And it's been an honor to have you as our governor. So
Well, thank you. And this
Curtis
thing obviously
Curtis is going to
about-
accuse me of gushing all over you
Yeah,
after, but
I'm sure he
go ahead.
will.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Good to see you guys, and
Great to see
we'll
you.
definitely
Governor, it's
do
always a
something
pleasure.
before the
Yes.
end. Okay.
We'll do something before the
Yes.
end. All right. Okay. That is Governor Baker. We're at Fenway Park, day number 1 of the 20th Jimmy Fund Telethon to benefit the Jimmy Fund and Dana-Farber. We'll be right back.